Okay, so now we're moving into part 2. My video cut off. We're on Genesis chapter 22. We're looking at the sacrifice that Abraham said he heard God tell him to go and use his son as a burnt offering, right? So he got up early in the morning, grabbed 2 of his homeboys, took the wood, grabbed his son and said, let's go. So now we're at the part where the son is asking him, all right, we got everything we need, but where's the lamb? Where's the actual offering here? Okay, so let's see. And Isaac spake, unto Abraham his father, and said, my father. And he said, here I am, my son. And he said, behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, my son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. So in other words, you are the lamb. You are the burnt offering. So just come on, let's get this done. And they came to the place which God had told of, and Abraham built an altar there, laid the wood in order, and bound his son, and lay him on the altar upon the wood. So he grabbed him, because I can't imagine. Can you imagine the trauma that his son went through? Can you imagine? I can't see his son being like, okay, Dad, yeah, you need me to turn this way? Do you need to tie it a little tighter on this side? Yeah, my arm is sticking out a little bit. You think you can wrap it a little tighter right here? I can't imagine that his son was participating in this. Unless Abraham might have jokingly did it, like, come on, let's just pretend, let's play, son. That's the only way that I can see his son actually cooperating without a fight. Because he's old enough to understand that the lamb is not there, but he's also old enough to understand that the lamb is going to be killed and burnt as an offering. And so his father is there wrapping him up. So at this point, he knows that his father is getting ready to murk him. He's getting ready to take him up out of here. He's getting ready to not only kill him, but to burn him. Okay? I can't imagine the mental trauma, right? So, and they came to the place, okay, let me see. So he laid him on the altar upon the wood, and Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. So his son is laying down, tied up. Abraham, here he is with the knife, okay? He got the knife in hand, okay? And his son, poor thing, just laying there looking like, oh my God, I can imagine he probably peed on himself. Heart is beating fast. He's crying like, no, Dad, please don't do this to me, you know. And here's Abraham. The Lord said, okay, well, let's see. Okay. And the angel of the Lord, remember, angels are messengers. Lords are people in a position of authority over others. Now, what's interesting is that Lord is capitalized right here, extra capital letters, okay? L-O-R and D are all capitalized. Called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, here I am. And he said, lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. Now, obviously, he didn't go through with it because he then heard another voice from the Lord that said, don't do it. I see that you are willing to do anything for me. You've proven to me that, you know, you down for me, right? Fast forward to today. Let's just say your pastor, you know, he gets up and he's praying and he says to his wife, you know, tomorrow we're going to have a barbecue. Okay? Because now they're saying today there's no more animal sacrifices, right? No, animal sacrifices was done away with because we moved from animal sacrifice to human sacrifice when they murdered Yeshua, right? So we don't do animal sacrifices, only human sacrifices. That's the only ones that's permissible Animal sacrifices? Absolutely not. So let's just say your pastor gets up one morning and he's like, baby, we getting ready to go to a barbecue early in the morning. Okay. And he grabs his only son and says, come on, son. He takes two of his homeboys, two of the deacons from the church, and they got the barbecue grill. They got the gasoline. They got everything that they need to barbecue except for the meat. Where's the meat? Where is the vegetables that you might grill? Where's the grilled fish? Whatever it is you're going to grill. They go with no food, right? And he says, I heard a message that I'm supposed to have this barbecue, but I ain't supposed to be barbecuing no pig feet. I'm supposed to be barbecuing my son. How would you all receive that today? Would you say that your pastor had lost his rabbit ass mind? Or would you say that he truly heard that message and that was his divine assignment? And so because he was willing to carry it through, even though he didn't, the son, little JoJo, didn't turn out to be the pork chop sandwich for Sunday's dinner. Okay. Because he got stopped in the process of getting ready to cook him up. So little JoJo, he didn't go through it, but your pastor say, but I heard a message and I was a willing servant. Would you not today say you didn't hear that from the Most High? You most certainly did not hear that from the Most High. There's no way you heard that. You would definitely say that, right? Most of you would say, well, that wouldn't likely happen because animal sacrifice is no longer. That you would likely say, oh, Jesus was the ultimate sacrifice. He was enough. Murking him was enough. So we don't need to murk little JoJo. We did it to Jesus already. So he was already the human sacrifice that was necessary to absolve us of our sins. Right? This is the type of stuff that you are reading in biblical text and no one stops to question it. No one stops to think about it like the Most High that you serve. But it makes me question, who do you serve? And obviously I'm not talking to those of you who have awakened to the truth here, but I'm talking to those of you who are still fully submerged in this energy and truly believe that these things was righteous. If it ain't righteous today, then it damn sure wasn't righteous back then. How is that a noble thing to say I am willing to kill my firstborn because I heard, I got a message? No, today you will be like, let's make sure we get you checked out. Let's make sure that you are not under the influence. Let's make sure that you're not hearing from demons, because no one today would say that pastor, if pastor said, let me take little JoJo for a barbecue, you would automatically say he was either losing his mind, he was on some sort of drug, or that he was hearing from the devil himself. But yet and still, everybody just breezes on past these things as if it was okay. It was normal back then. Oh, this is the normal thing to do. Back then, that was in Genesis. But the Most High is the same today, yesterday, and forever, though. Y'all will say that in the same breath, too. Make it make sense. So, now we're going to look into more of the sorcery, magic, miracles. We're going to look into Numbers 21, 8 through 9. Numbers 21. I'm just touching on some of the things. It's so much stuff in here that'll make you say, I'm sorry, run that by me again when you're awakened. But when you're still asleep, you're like, what do you mean? You can't question that. What do you mean? Okay. Numbers 21:8. And the Lord said unto Moses, make thee a fiery serpent, and set it upon a pole. And it shall come to pass that every one that is bitten, when he looketh upon it, shall live. And Moses made a serpent of brass, and put it upon a pole. And it came to pass that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld the serpent of brass, he lived. So, mind you, this is not a living snake that was put on a rod. This is brass that was made to look like the image of a snake and put on a rod. Okay? And this was instructed by the Lord, which consider a Lord is someone, it could be someone who's in a position of authority over a group of people. It can be, right? But he was given this instruction and he did that. And apparently when the people who had been bitten by the snake, there was that plague or whatever, that curse that was placed upon them, when they looked upon this rod that had this man-made serpent on it, all they had to do was look at it, and the poison that was in their bodies from the snake venom left them and they were healed. Now, fast forward to today. If I made me a rod, right, and I walked up in your church and I said, I got a message from the Most High that I should take some copper, wrap it around this rod, and I should come in here and use it to heal the sick. Now, we ain't even talking about people with snake venom. It's far less extreme, because those with snake venom, they already on their way out the door within the next 5 minutes if they don't catch that rod in their eyesight within the next 2 seconds, right? I'm talking about something that's far less extravagant. Let's just say me or anybody says, hey, I got a message, I got a vision last night. And the Most High told me to come in here and to bring this rod with this, copper rod. And it has it's a serpent. Yeah, it does look like a snake. Okay, great. But it's on this rod, and I've been told to come and have you all look upon it if you're ill, if you're going through anything, and it's going to heal you of that. Do you know how many Christians would turn away someone that walked up in there that said that they had that direct message or instruction from the Most High? Do you know how many of them would say you are practicing witchcraft and sorcery? Do you know how many of them would throw that person out of the church immediately? They wouldn't even want nothing to do with that person because they would say they're either crazy, they're hearing from the devil, or they're practicing sorcery or witchcraft. But yet and still, when it's done right here, based on the written text of a man who says that this is what they was told to do, this is what they interpreted when they heard from the Most High, which consider also, a lot of people will say, well, back then, people used to actually hear the voice of the Most High as the way you are hearing me right now, right? But let's go back and say again, the Most High in this same scripture said, I am the same today, yesterday, and forever. So nowadays, fast forward, a lot of people will question you if you say that you got a message from the Most High, because they feel that if you ain't Moses, if you ain't Jesus, if you ain't Isaac, Jacob, or John, if you ain't Paul, because everybody loves Paul. Oh my goodness, don't get me started on this Paul character. If you ain't none of them, if you're not their pastor that they talk to every Sunday, or the pastor's wife, or Mother Mary that sits in the front with her white skirt on and her white hat and her white gloves, okay, then you ain't got no business talking about you heard anything. You best go sit down in the back, because you are not equipped to have that ability. And if you come around with anything that looks like a rod with a snake on it, you getting thrown about the church before you can even step through the front door, because they are going to automatically deem it as witchcraft or sorcery. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. So let's move on. Yeah, I think that's all of them, actually. Yeah, that's everything that I've written down for this particular Make You Think session, okay? This was all to make you think. Were the prophets in the Bible great sorcerers? Were they great magicians? Were they doing magic or do you just coin this as miracles? Because it just sounds so much sweeter. It sounds so much softer. It sounds so, so much less, sinister, as the Christians would call it. It doesn't seem like it's wickedness or evil because it's called miracles. But call it what it is. Because if someone does many of these things today, you would use those exact same terms: sorcerer, magician, witch, all of these different terms you would use to say that that person was of the devil. There would be nothing that you would say about that person that would even indicate that it was coming from the Most High, even if this person is doing good things to help heal people. And they may not be nearly as extravagant as the sorcery or magic that was used here in the biblical text, as I have recalled to you today. Even when it comes to the divination, many Christians get on my channel or they'll send me emails. That is not of the Most High. Divination is not of the Most High. But then you look right here and see that Urim and Thummim was getting it in. They was casting lots just to determine if doggone Jonathan ate some honey. Because he was about to get killed for eating that honey. All based on pulling some rocks and stones just to see, oh, did we pull that one? Oh, yeah, he was most certainly guilty. And you was about to get murked. But because everybody said, well, no, then that's not right. What are you doing? He doesn't even have a criminal history. He was redeemed. Saved from getting murked, which is all throughout the biblical text as well. Murder is a common theme in the biblical text. My goodness. I mean, they was comfortable with murdering folks. So comfortable that, even Abraham was willing to murk his own son. And nobody questions that. Most people in the religious structure of the Christian church will not question Abraham. They will say that he was a great guy. He was a great guy because he was willing to take out his own son. But because he heard another message that said, don't do it, there's a little lamb that's walking over there right now that you can kill instead. He didn't do it. And everybody wants to say, well, remember, we don't sacrifice animals anymore. Those days are done. But moving into the New Testament, we're killing a whole person who had two people on the side of him that was also getting murdered. But they said they was criminals, so of course that's okay. They can kill them off. But then the one who was unblemished sits right in the middle and is getting murdered, and everybody is saying, but he wanted that. He came here for that. And because of him getting murdered, I am now redeemed. Really think about what you have been bamboozled to believe in. Give yourself permission to talk directly to the Most High without using the name of this character, Jesus, who is also the image of Caesar Borgia, who was also a homosexual murderer. Give yourself permission to talk directly to the source and to bypass what you have been brainwashed to believe that you're supposed to do in order to have that divine connection to the Most High. Give yourself permission to do a total reset of your mind and to clear out all conditioning, all illusions, all belief systems that was passed down to you through the fear of your ancestors. Give yourself permission to look at this biblical passage and to fully evaluate, is this truly in alignment with the Most High? Is using divination or magic truly wicked? Because if you believe that it was okay in the scriptures to do it on high level, we're talking about high level sorcery that was being done up in here, then is it wicked? Because people will tell me, you can't write things down and burn it. That's magic. You can't write stuff on candles. That's magic. Well, I'm doing low level. I mean, they was doing whole serpents. Okay? It was extreme. And nobody questions it. They just call it miracles. So that's my message. I hope I gave y'all something to think about. Please be sure to like, subscribe, share it with some other people, share it with some folks. It's a great conversational piece. That's my message for you all. I love you, and I'll talk to you all next time.